Hello everyone, this is Chris, and welcome to a very, very happy me. And I say that because, while not necessarily confirmed yet, there's been plenty of hints and inklings to lead us to believe that the world height is going to be increasing inside of caves and cliffs. And with such a monumentous change, that gets me wondering about a few certain types of things that's going to happen to existing worlds and some realizations about what's going to happen to existing things. So, what are these specific things and ideas which I have seen with the introduction of with increased world height? Well, that's what this video is for. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into this. So, one of the most obvious changes with the increased world height is the ability to have much taller and much higher mountains than what we currently have. On Bedrock Edition, we could get to about Y128, and on Java Edition, it could go up to Y256. And to have it increased all the way up to 512 just makes sense, because just having air up there for no particular reason just kind of feels like a waste. I mean, like, builders would have a blast having higher mountains or not, but still, I think it's a necessary change. One rumor I've seen pop around the community quite a bit is having the introduction of the casual limit, say like the area of this plains, being raised up to say Y128. And that got me thinking, what's going to happen to things such as oceans, rivers, and lakes? Because if that happens, they're going to have to raise it up with them, I think. Otherwise, you'd have sort of crazy types of beaches and stuff. So that got me wondering, are we gonna get much deeper and much darker lakes, rivers, and oceans? Because that'd be actually a really cool type of dynamic, having much deeper types of things to go down. I don't think it should be a very common thing for it to happen. I think, like, definitely should be a rare commodity, but still, to have the ability to have much deeper and much darker oceans, rivers, lakes, and other things like that would be a very welcome addition to caves and cliffs. And another welcome addition is the ability to create brand new types of maps with this build height, specifically the dropper map, which, if you don't know what a dropper map is, it's basically just falling down from world height, dodging and weaving a whole bunch of obstacles, and landing in a particular spot. Think of the Fall Guys, but vertical. And the fall we just had took, what, about 5 seconds-ish to go from build height currently to all the way down here? Granted, we had about 64 blocks or so to go down even further, but still, to have the ability to build twice as high, to have twice as tall dropper maps is something which is very exciting. I know marketplace maps or something like that is a bit controversial to say, but still, I think if the right people get their hands on this build height, they can do some incredible things. Another map type which I could see being very benefited with this new build height is Elytra flying maps, because most Elytra courses, maps, they start at Y256 and they head your way down, but at some point they do teleport you just straight the way back up, and to have this new build height would basically negate it, or just very, very much so limit it. And I'm very interested to see just what these map makers and these creators do, regardless of what type of map or building they try to create. So I've been pretty much focusing on the build height being increased to 512, but one thing I didn't mention about this data pack which we saw in Java is that there is an ability to build below the bedrock layer. I believe it's about to Y-512, so basically 1,024 blocks up and down. But that gets me curious, because with new chunks and old chunks being rendered in together, that means you'd have sort of this very, very big border wall, which you see in many types of updates and things like that. I know Bedrock Edition has been trying to fix that a little bit, but they haven't done an incredible job, and I think for something like the very bottom bedrock layer, they'd want to keep it sealed up as tight as possible. So maybe what they could do is to do sort of a nice clean edge border walls, sort of like what they did way back when Legacy Edition worlds got transferred over. But then again, they'd have to figure out a way to keep all the bedrock sealed up, and yeah, to keep the void completely locked up to players. And the same can be said with the above ground terrain, because if they do raise it to Y128, that means you're going to get sort of border walls pretty much like this. I mean, this is a very rough and very quick put together type thing, but still, it'll give you the idea of just from loading in one type of new chunk to another would just hit you right into a big thick wall, which I don't think many players would want to see. So having some type of way to smoothen the terrain up, even if it's a very big smoothing job going really high up. I mean, just having some type of smoothing thing for most of these types of new generations, kind of like what we have with the existing mountains. You can kind of see how they're sort of somewhat smoothened up, but they're still going up very high. Even if they had something like this, it'd still be better than just having a big chunk wall in the middle of nowhere. If you're a Bedrock player, then I'm almost certain that the second you heard that the build limit was going to be increased to 512, the first thought that came into my mind, at least, was, what's gonna happen to the Nether? Because in case you don't know, let's head our way up there really quick. In case you don't know, for Bedrock Edition, we are limited. We are not able to build right on top of the Nether roof. You see me trying to place as hard as I can, and yeah, it's not happening. Unlike Java Edition, which can build up here at ease with no limitations or anything like that. So maybe inside of Caves and Cliffs, we'll at least be able to build ourselves up here now, much like Java Edition does, because at the end of the day, it's at least a parity feature which should be looked into. But yeah, hopefully this is another thing which can be added and looked into inside of Caves and Cliffs. And hopefully some of these other types of questions and concerns will be answered within the next couple weeks, or at some points in the future in the Caves and Cliffs development, because at the end of the day, this is mainly for the mountains and the crazy terrain to get much better, to get much more realistic, and to get much more exciting. So yeah, whether it gets answered this week, next week, or at some point in the future, this video will at some points become dated, which, I mean, I'm totally okay with. I'm totally fine with videos becoming dated. I knew going into making this one video that it will inevitably become dated at some point, but hopefully you enjoyed these types of theories and questions that came out of this one type of huge feature that's coming to the game eventually. And yeah, look forward to more types of theories in the future. But for now, that's pretty much all I have for you. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.